Who are you and why did you get into crypto?
My name is Noah Clements, and I got into this type of crypto because I was looking for a direction,
Yeah.
basically. Everything else is kind of plain and I guess boring, and I was just curious about learning more about it.
So would you say you kind of got into this stuff, I guess, to go a little bit further than just ordinary crypto, go further into like putting your assets to work in a sense and kind of creating that hedge against, just ordinary market fluctuations by earning, I guess, passive income on your crypto? Or what would you say
Um,
is kind of your strategy?
I'd say at the start is to just kind of build a portfolio,
Yeah,
and then learn more about like the liquidity pools and find a group of people that are associated with wanting to get better at it. And then eventually passive income would probably be the end game for anyone,
for
really.
sure. That's something that a lot of our clients do. They end up, starting with X amount of capital. They put that into liquidity pools and they use, earnings to kind of build their bull run portfolio or just
Hmm.
build their overall crypto portfolio up or even just compound back into the positions so they can earn even more money. And then eventually, once they have a larger portfolio size, they go and they start earning some passive income off of that. Or in bear market, they'll invest into market neutral stuff. So that way they can, consistently earn a passive income on stuff that's not going to fluctuate. But I definitely like that strategy. And what would you say is, I guess, your biggest fear when you got into crypto DeFi, and how did you overcome that?
For me, it's always the fear of just new stuff, because crypto is kind of like not a tangible item, and that's usually I think what drives a lot of people away from maybe wanting to get into crypto or learning about it. But I think it's just the
Mhm.
overall fear of being like, hey, I'm in good hands, first of all, and then it's like just being okay with learning the new stuff. And then I just got over it because I just jump into things usually.
Of course. Yeah, and
So,
and the basis of it is everything's, based off of supply and demand. Bitcoin is popular because people want Bitcoin. But if nobody wants Bitcoin, I mean the price is just going to tank. Everybody's going to be selling their Bitcoin and getting out of it. So you kind of have to determine which one of those assets are actually worth getting into, which ones
yeah.
actually have a demand, and which ones are just like short-term hype or speculation that it's going to do well in the next market, which ones provide a real value or a real service or something along those lines. Um, so I can definitely understand that because there's tens of thousands of different crypto assets, at least
Yeah.
that we know of. There's probably a lot more than that. But the question is which ones are good, and finding the ones that actually are going to do well in the long term. Well, with that being said, what would you say is, I guess, the driving motivation behind joining kind of the DeFi Accelerator program?
It was like the top tier one I could find in this type of learning process. I guess I wanted to go through.
Mhm.
It's just the one that stuck out the most. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna run with these guys because they seem like they know what they're doing.
For sure. So did you
So,
talk to other kind of competitors before and then decide on our program, or did you just go
uh,
straight to us?
I overanalyze a lot of things, so I kind of just saw what you guys were doing, and it seemed more like real world and practical.
Okay.
Everybody else was kind of like rent a machine, do this, do that, like stuff that's way more out of your control. Whereas this was teaching you how to control everything that you're learning.
I got you.
So I like, yeah, I like the teacher experience type situation.
For sure. Yeah, and I know there's the famous quote about that. If you teach a man to fish, he'll eat forever. If you fish for him, he'll eat for X amount of days, and that's kind of
Yep.
our goal here. Teach you how to do it so that way you can do it yourself. But then you can also pop into our group and provide value to our other members while we consistently provide value to you. And after joining the program, what have you kind of accomplished? And did you reach your goals?
I'd say I'm on my way to reaching my goals because it wasn't my goals are kind of like long term, I guess. It's not so much like I
Yeah,
was looking for the instantaneous wins. Essentially, I was just wanted to kind of
of
build
course.
up and get into it.
No worries. Could you tell us about kind of some of the results that you've achieved throughout the DeFi Accelerator program and what you've kind of accomplished?
With my starting capital, I don't feel like it was like as much as like a lot of other people can put forth, but like it's definitely been nothing but consistent earnings. And like we have the one that does really, really well just by nature of the beast, I think. And then the other ones, in terms of my strategies that we picked and went into, it's definitely just like a long term game for me. Um,
Yeah,
so I'm not looking for get rich quick because a lot of things take time.
for sure.
So
Yeah, and especially with the current market that we have, being at the foot end of the bull run, it's going to do really well in the next market, I believe, because you're going to have all that volume coming in where you're going to earn all those
yeah,
trading fees. but additionally, you're going to make all that money from price appreciation. So it's like, our ultimate goal here is to, if you're going to make, say, $10,000 just holding your money in crypto assets, we want to make you $15,000 by being in liquidity pools, or we want to make you $20,000 by being in liquidity pools, right? We want to have a better capital multiplier by being in liquidity pools because we're earning the fees that these traders are paying. So that makes a lot of sense, definitely. And something that I want to ask is, would you recommend this program to somebody that's in your current shoes, or the shoes that you were in when you first started?
I would totally recommend it, in terms of like, if you're nervous about getting into something crypto related and want like actual, like, this is more of a tangible outcome too, because it's like the program that you go through actually is like skill set based, and you learn things along the way. You can ask all the questions you want. You get a community that's involved with each other as it's growing, that is. And then yeah, I would honestly recommend it to anybody, because it's, even if they just wanted to learn how to use their crypto to make some passive anything, really.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And what I would say is, our goal is to allow other people to learn from our mistakes, as opposed to having to go out and lose money themselves and learn from their own mistakes, or throw away X amount of capital before even making a penny, just because they had to learn. Learn from our mistakes, learn from our experience, as opposed to going out doing it yourself and then losing money. We've actually had situations where people have kind of passed on our offering, they go try it themselves, and they end up losing money, and they would have been better off just coming to us and kind of learning from our mistakes, stuff that would have been preventable. So, even if we can give tips, and somebody doesn't want to join our program, we're going to go ahead and we're going to give them those tips to make sure that they aren't going to end up losing money to some silly thing that can easily be avoidable with like the snap of a finger. And last thing I want to ask is, like, what has the program kind of done from you outside, I guess, like financially, and just earning a little bit of income, building up that portfolio and whatnot?
It's kind of eased my mindset around like terrifying crypto world.
Yeah.
Just because it's kind of like, of all the things, like, yeah, passively trading the cryptocurrencies, this and that, constantly watching it, or you can just set up some things and have it just make you money on its own. Like, you don't really, like, you have to check in and everything, but it's not as constant. It's more like the passive, like what a lot of people are, I think, reaching for nowadays.
Exactly. I would say it's similar to, I guess, buying and holding crypto assets on a consistent basis. Like somebody that's just setting up a dollar cost average on Coinbase, for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and maybe a few other assets. They're not going to touch it until, hopefully the bull market peaks out and they go ahead and sell. Whereas on this case scenario, it's like our clients on average are touching it about once a week, maybe once every other week or so. It still does need management. Nothing is 100% passive, but at the same time, the trade-off is you're making a lot more money than if you were to just hold your money in the crypto market. And you're doing a lot better than if you were to just, do that dollar cost average strategy. So yes, a little bit more of an active strategy, but at the same time, when you put it into perspective with how much money you're making, the passiveness is still relatively good, I would say. But yeah, I mean, with that being said, do you have any final thoughts you'd like to leave for kind of somebody that's on the fence or whatnot?
Just lean in. It's got a smart group of people involved with this, and I mean, you guys care about the outcome of the people, so like that's a big driving force also. So you're not just in it for yourselves. You actually want to watch the people learn and grow.